Good evening and welcome to the Girl Talk Sunday podcast. I am your host, Sandi BestLife Jones. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And as most of you probably know, domestic violence is an extremely common crime in this country and around the world. But what you may not know and what the CDC reports is that about 41% of women and 26% of the men in the US have experienced contact sexual violence, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime. And in over 61 million women and 53 million men have experienced psychological aggression by an intimate partner in their lifetime. I'm not sure why there's an echo on you guys. I don't know if you hear that echo, but I hear it, and I'm not sure why it's doing that. Okay, we're gonna figure this out. If you're watching, let me know if you hear an echo. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. Hmm. You don't hear an echo? Okay, thank you, Jeanette. I hear an echo, but I'm not sure why. But if you guys don't hear it, then I'll just deal with it. As long as you don't hear it, it's okay. The Washington State Coalition Against Domestic Violence says in Washington State, nearly 49% of female homicide victims were killed within the context of intimate partner violence. In Washington State, among 10th graders, 10th graders in Washington, more than 1 in 6 reports being made to engage in unwanted sexual activity and or sexual advances from a romantic partner. We're gonna get into this a little bit more with my very special guest, Candace Wesley, in about 40 seconds.
She worth it. 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 Worth it.
All right. Again, thank you for joining me tonight on the Girl Talk Sunday podcast. I am your host, Sandi BestLife Jones, and I am here to help women just like you discover the purpose and the plan for your life through honoring God, honoring your body, and owning your worth. Yes, we are a faith based platform, but all who come in peace are welcome. Now, this echo that I'm hearing is going to drive me crazy. So I need to figure out what is going on here because I hear myself talking. I don't know why. Hmm, I don't know. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, let me troubleshoot. Let me troubleshoot. Hold on. This is so strange. I've never had this happen before, but I can't keep hearing myself talking. Maybe it stopped. I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. All right. All right. If you are near here, new here, welcome to the Girl Talk Sunday Sofa. And if you've been here before and you've come back for more, thank you for coming back. My guest tonight is my long, long, long time friend. I'm talking about middle school friend. And when I tell you that Candy has not switched up on me or anybody else, what you see and what you're going to see today is who she was in middle school. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Candy to me has always been goodness, wrapped in cafe au lait skin. And this is what I love about Candy. She can be give you the most valuable advice, but she adds humor to it. So you're laughing, but you're also, like, really gleaning from what she's saying because she's so wise, and she's lived such a multifaceted, interesting life, and her story that she's gonna share with us tonight is just a little snippet of her life, and I've always admired her. She's always been such a good friend to me, and it's not because we see each other all the time. We can go years without seeing each other, and then we'll run into each other somewhere, and we'll just pick right up where we left off. That's just her personality, that's who she is, and that's what I love about her. One of the many things one of the many things that I love about her the most. So I'm gonna bring Candy out, we're gonna hear her story, and I think that when you do, you're gonna think about your own life and how you saw as a child shaped and informed the way you perceived and understood relationships to be, and that could be why you found yourself in some not so great relationships, and it could be why you found yourself in some really, really good relationships. So here she is, my friend, Candace Wesley. Can you hear me?
I can. Good evening. Hi,
It's so good to
Sandy.
see you. I hear myself echoing, and I don't know why.
Okay. You're not
I
echoing.
don't know why, but okay, hold on, let me see one more thing. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with it because I don't want it to just automatically, like, disappear. So we're gonna just roll with it even though I do hear it. Alright, how are you, my friend?
I am wonderful. How are you? It's good to see you. You look so pretty all the time.
Thank you. I was about to tell you, baby, that yellow is doing its job.
Oh, yellow's my favorite
I'm
color too.
enjoying it. Yes, I'm enjoying that immensely.
Well,
Thank you so much for being here tonight. I know that I reached out to you a few months ago, like back in March,
mhm.
and we were trying to figure out a date for you to come on the show, and then something really devastating happened in your life. You lost your little brother
Yeah,
unexpectedly,
I
and I
did.
want to again extend my condolences to you for
Thank
that
you.
loss. We talked about what happened to him, but do you wanna share what happened?
I yeah, I lost my little brother
Mm,
unexpectedly. He was uh they were the babies. I have twin little brothers,
mhm,
and I unexpectedly lost my brother at 30 years old. And I think that's where we were the last we
mhm.
were trying to figure out some. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's still a little tender, so I just.
yeah, yeah, I understand, understand. Well, I'm glad that that we were finally able to find a date, and it's so funny because when we were talking, we talked about so much
Right.
that And that's what happens when I talk to you. We just get to talking, and you
we fit it
next thing
all
you
in.
know, right? It's like an hour later,
Hmm.
and I said, "Well, what? I can't even remember what we said you wanted to come on the show for." And then we were like, "Oh, okay, okay, now we remember.
Actually,
Now we."
I think we were trying to figure out a topic, and you
Mhm.
asked me how I was doing. It was the
Yes.
beginning of April. You asked
Mhm.
me how I was doing, and I just started, I don't
Yeah.
want to say venting or just dumping it all, but it's always been a safe space with you. And so I just started sharing, and which led to today's topic. You said, you know what? October is domestic violence awareness. Would you like to talk about
Mhm.
domestic violence? And I said, since we're here, because we were talking about that. And
Mhm.
I said,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And so,
So, you were explaining to me that yes, you were in a violent marriage, but you
yes,
said that your intro into violence started as a child, like you were born into
from birth,
a family that was toxic and violent. And
from
I don't know if
birth.
I'd ever heard the term generational domestic violence before you said that to me. So I really had to think about that. And I said to myself, that's probably why how a lot of people sometimes end up in with with romantic partners that are violent because what they've seen as a child carries
Yes,
over into their adult life, and if you don't get help for that and you don't get healing for that, you start to think that that's what relationships are, that's what they look like, that's how people act in a relationship. And you don't
right.
know that it's toxic. You don't know that it's not normal. You don't know that violence is not a normal way of life in a romantic relationship. Would you say that that's kinda how what your mindset was when you went into your marriage?
I had never even unpacked it
Mhm,
that way until we were in that conversation. And I remember thinking, you know what?
mhm,
Upon conception in my mother's womb, that was my
mm,
first introduction to domestic violence.
mhm,
That was my introduction into violence. And so that was a norm. And so I
mm,
never looked at it that way until we were talking about it that day. And I remember I have two of my aunts, I remember telling me, and more even so when I got in my 30s, one of my aunts, I was at the altar at church.
mhm,
And my aunt said, I don't know if you ever knew this, but your father used to always call you the devil's child.
mm,
And my father was a biracial man, and I was the lightest one at that
mhm,
time. And
right,
he used to, that's not mine. And he didn't want any more children by the time my mom had conceived me, he didn't want any more children. And
mhm,
so, from what I understand, at 4 months old, he was in the Air Force. He took his military boot
mhm.
and hit me in the top of my head when I was four
You
months
were
old.
4 months old.
I was 4 months old, and we were stationed in California. And
Mhm.
my aunt put my mom and my siblings on a train and sent us back to Washington.
Tell me what you mean by from conception,
Well,
you were
because my
in violence.
father, I didn't meet my biological father till I was 27 years old because my mom had left him when I was
Mhm,
a baby. But from conception, he was a very physically
mm,
abusive, very abusive man.
mhm, mhm,
He was an abusive man. And once I got to know him for the brief time that I did know him, it
mhm,
was generational for him. You know, you grow up and you see fighting and arguing in the home, and then you parallel that with substance abuse.
mhm,
And this is the overall product of the recipe that you blended. And
mm,
so he was very abusive to my mother. And when my mom left him growing up,
mhm,
I had a stepfather.
mhm,
To us as children, he was just the greatest man. He was a heroin addict.
mm,
He was a phenomenal grandfather, and he was he didn't beat us and emotionally and verbally abuse us, but
mhm,
my mother, and I'm saying this just to
Mhm.
share because to me,
Right.
there's my mother's who she was unmatched as a being, and so.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but I just grew up. He was a heroin addict. My mother always worked, and I just remember the fighting and the arguing and
Mhm.
running out of the house in the middle of the night, being in the
Mm.
back of the police cars,
Mhm.
and the more and more I think about my life, I
Mhm.
grew up thinking that it was him. But then when I look at a lot of my mom's behaviors and patterns, it
Mhm.
was both of them. And so for her, I believe that it became a learned behavior, a defense mechanism.
Mhm.
So before I become the victim of it, I'm going to be the aggressor this time.
Oh, okay.
It
So it's
was
like a
a,
reactive abuse.
right. And it was
Sounds
one of
like
those
mhm.
tit for tat kind of things because my mother
Right.
was a very strong woman. But if I, for the sake of honesty, if it helps anybody else, I can say that there were times
Mhm.
where it went both ways. Why? Because that was her norm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Her norm. My mother grew up in a domestic, not everybody has a come to Jesus moment. Thank God
Mhm.
for the times that we do
Mhm.
um, accept Christ into our hearts and start our healthy journeys. But
Mhm.
earlier on, my mother grew up in a toxic, violent type of household
Mhm.
environment. And so, what do? You gravitate to your norm. She
Mhm.
gravitated to my father.
Mhm.
And then they have
Mhm.
us. And so then here goes another generation
Mhm.
of
Yep.
the
Yep.
domestic violence pattern.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so, which is so unnormally normal, if I can coin it that way, that's
Mhm.
a norm. And
Mhm.
so, fast forward, that's what I gravitated to.
Yeah. So your
That
aunt put your
gravitated
mom on a train with you and your siblings.
and sent us back to Tacoma.
Okay, and how old were you?
I 4 or 5 months.
Oh, you were still a baby.
I was a baby. I
Mhm.
don't know if it was that night or
Mhm.
the next day, but she sent us back to Washington.
Okay. So what was life like for you growing up in Washington?
If I had to compare it to now,
Mhm.
I had a phenomenal childhood.
Mhm.
I played jacks, I played wall ball, we played hopscotch, things of that nature. But
What?
we picked berries, we learned how to make pie. We didn't it was really weird to me when I went to one of my friend's house and her mom went to Safeway and bought some fish
Mhm.
and bought some greens. I was like, I don't want to eat over here because I come from a family of fishermen
Mhm.
and gamesmen. So we ate what they caught. We
Mhm.
learned how to scale fish and we ate fresh fish. We ate greens out of the garden.
Right.
We picked apples from the tree and my mom made apple pies. But because she married my stepdad
Mhm.
and our home was domestic violence, I
Mm.
lived with a lot of my relatives
Mhm.
in
Yeah,
between those fights and those in
right.
and out of jail stays and stuff like that. I was quick to call one of my aunts. I would call my Uncle Flash, my Auntie
Mhm.
Blanche. I'd call my Uncle Emmett. I'd call my Auntie May May.
Mhm.
I'd go to school and call and say, hey, and they would come and get me. Or there were times when I got about 9 or 10
Mhm.
where I started standing up to him.
Mhm.
You don't tell me what to do. You ain't, that type of thing. You ain't my dad. And
Yeah.
my aunts and my uncles would come and get me. So I lived at my grandma's. I lived with my aunts, my uncles. Then I'd go back home because my mom took us from the hill
Mhm.
and moved us to the east side of Tacoma, which was a culture shock for me, one. And
Mhm.
secondly, I didn't know anything about having friends
Mhm.
or playmates.
Mhm.
All I knew was I had a huge family and my cousins were my friends. My cousins were my siblings. And so now
Yeah.
we live on the east side. We went from Swan Creek apartments
Mhm.
to Salishan.
Mhm.
And when I got to Salishan, it was like, all right, let the games begin. I didn't have any allies. I didn't have cousins. It was just me and my siblings, right? So here we go.
I have to say this too. I just remember in middle school, like, y'all, 90% of Tacoma is Candy's family.
Literally.
So if you came for Candy, you was coming for about 591 other people. So you just needed to know, don't come for Candy because not only could she hold her own, but she had a whole tribe behind her that would whoop your tail on her behalf. That's how big your family is. And people, this is the thing. People might be saying something about you, but they're not in your presence, but they're around other people, not knowing that that's your family. That's how big your family is. So yeah, it was just like, okay, though everybody, it's everybody. You just don't say nothing because you don't know who you're talking in front of. Just
And you want to know what's funny too when you say that I could hold my own?
Mhm.
I had to hold my own.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to hold my own because my mom worked,
Mhm.
my brother worked, my sister, we did hair. We braided hair.
Yeah.
We did hair to get our school clothes and stuff like that. So I had to hold my own because I would come home, my mom would be at work, and there would be heroin addicts
Mm, mm.
nodded out on the couch. And my little sister was 5, 6 years younger than me, right?
Mhm.
I'd come home and I'd be waking, excuse me, are you supposed to be here? Does
Mm.
my mom know you're here? That type of thing.
As a kid.
Kid.
Yeah.
As a kid, I would come home and there would be people sometime, not all the time, but
Mhm.
I'm talking about lived experience.
Mhm. Mhm. We lost Candy for it. She'll be back. Hopefully she'll pop back in. Oh, here she comes. Candy, are you there? I think you just need to connect to your camera. Mm. Okay, we're gonna give her a few minutes to come back. All right, she's gonna come back. She popped out. She's coming back. But that's what I found to be so interesting when I was talking to Candy during her pre-interview that turned into just like a regular girl talk conversation. What I found so interesting about her her story is that first of all, like she said, from conception, she had been exposed to violence. Her father made it clear that he did not want her while her mother was carrying her. And then after she was born, he was violent against her, an infant. So from like 4 months old, she was experiencing violence in the home. Her mother's sister put her mom, her siblings on a bus, sent them to Washington, and mom meets another man. He becomes Candy's stepfather, and he is violent because, in her mother's mind, more than likely, she probably felt, this is what relationships look like. This is what husbands and wives do. This is what I know. And so I'm going to do what I need to do to protect myself and my children, but we going to duke it out. This is what I know. Okay, Candy's back. All right, there she is.
Hi, I don't know what happened, but I think I left off with
Mhm.
that's what I would come home. That's what I
Mhm.
know. I'm in Salishan.
Mhm.
I'm a chubby little girl, and kids are can be violent at a young age. Just because you're chubby, that doesn't mean that you want to fight the biggest girl in school.
Right.
Just because you're a black woman and you're big, that does not mean you want to fight the big Samoan girl in your class.
Mhm.
That's not what that means, but that's what would happen to us. We would have to fight.
Mhm.
And then when I got to middle school, it was just the girls from the hilltop would catch the bus to the east side, and we'd be fighting for what? There was never even a reason why. It was like, you heard this, you heard that. I'm
Mhm.
fighting, and people would say that I was angry, but I would have
Mhm.
to stand up for myself. And people not knowing your backdrop, they're not knowing what's going on in your home.
Right.
They're not knowing that I didn't sleep all night
Mhm.
because I'm up.
Mhm.
My siblings are up. We're
Mhm.
up because there's been fighting going on in the house.
Mhm.
I remember coming home one time and some people we didn't know, but my stepdad knew,
Mhm.
they were removing our deep freezer from our house with all the
Mhm.
food in it. And
What?
I remember my brother getting a big old stick. Like, you ain't taking that out of here, and they didn't take it, but at the end of the day, it wasn't always like that. But if it wasn't for my brother, Chris,
Mhm.
protecting us, my sister Katrina was always a voice of reason,
Mhm.
tender-hearted. She knew how to cook, and she knew how to take care of her younger siblings. And then here's this natural born warrior right here, ready
Mhm.
to, "No, I ain't running tonight. We gonna
Mhm.
jump them. If they come in this house and they don't live here, we gonna jump them." So it was just violent
Yeah.
around me, and that was norm. And then I would go to live with if I went to live at my grandma's. My grandma lived on 16th and Cushman,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And you know how um, adults, they get together, they play cards,
Mhm.
they drink. And if anybody says that their family wasn't like that, y'all be saved all your life, okay? But when you add this stroke of the brush called alcohol
Yeah. Yeah.
at play, and then the adults would argue, they would fight,
Mhm.
um, at the card party. That's
Mhm.
culturally, that's how it would end up sometimes among black people,
Yeah.
white people, whatever your ethnicity is. We have those things in regards to domestic violence. But I always correlated domestic violence to when you're in a relationship with your
Mhm.
boyfriend or your girlfriend.
Mhm.
It wasn't until I really started thinking about the layers of domestic violence. Domestic means family,
Right. Right. I think a
in
lot of people miss
house.
that. A lot of people
People
miss that.
miss that.
Mhm.
Domestic
Yeah.
violence is when siblings fight each other. And you know how we say kids will be kids.
Mhm.
Those are two brothers. They're gonna fight each other. And what would they do?
Mhm.
Oh, you want to fight your brother? You want to fight your sister? Go out, take it to the yard. You guys go fight. You
Mm.
know what? That's what they used to do to the slaves. They
I
would
was just
put them
thinking
out
that.
in the
Yeah.
yard, and they would have those two men fight unto death. And
Mhm. Mhm.
they would bet money, and they would fight unto death. And so that
Mhm.
too is a learned behavior. How can we
Mhm.
counter aggression with aggression? If you two can't get along, put the guns down, go out into the yard and fight it out.
Yeah.
And it would be, those are two brothers, they gonna fight, so you may as
Mm.
well fight it out. No, that is also domestic violence. Oh, you're gonna fight your cousin because you guys aren't getting along. And we would say, if somebody hits you, hit them back. That's
Mhm.
the way I grew up. If you didn't fight back, my
Mhm.
mom didn't care if it was your cousin, the girl next door, if somebody hit you, you hit them back. If not, you were in trouble.
Yeah.
So, one, you want to protect yourself, but at the end of the day, when does the voice of reason come into play?
Mm. Mhm.
Why is she hitting her? What's going on with her that makes her want to hit her cousin? What's going on with him that makes it okay for his child to hit his auntie. And instead of you disciplining or chastising your child, we
Mhm.
say, well, what did she do to him to make him hit her?
Right. Helping the child justify their bad behavior.
Right. But
Yeah.
then when they raise up against you, my grandfather used to always say, you play with a puppy, he'll lick your mouth. You play with a kid, he'll sass you out. And
Mm.
so going back to the domestic violence, it was around me. My
Mhm.
siblings and I was the third or fourth one on the totem pole. 'Cause my brother Shane was funny too, though. I
Mhm.
used to try to stand up and boss up to him, and he'd say, "Candy, you better get out of my face. You better sit down." That's domestic violence. Me trying to fight
Yeah.
my siblings, and so what I'm born into,
Mhm.
this is my norm, and now I'm modeling the behavior
Mhm. Yeah.
of domestic violence.
So your mom went from your abusive biological father to your abusive stepfather. How long was she married to your stepfather?
They were together for years before they got married.
Mm.
They got married,
Mhm.
got divorced. They separated for 5 years.
Mhm.
I was an adult by this time, and then they got remarried.
Mhm. Okay.
And in the latter years, when I became an adult, they weren't fighting like that and stuff anymore. And
Mhm.
before my mother passed away, he cleaned up. He became clean and sober, and he
Mhm.
literally he took care of my mom. He was
Mm.
good. He was good to us, good to the grandkids and things of that nature. But coming up, he was violent.
Mhm.
He was
Mhm.
violent, and my mom was a tough cookie as well.
Mhm.
It was fighting, breaking up, tearing up everything in the house. I remember one time my brothers jumped him,
Mhm.
and it was ugly, right? And that's when you get to the age of where no, we ain't taking this no more.
Yeah.
But the violence to me, I felt would be brought on by the drugs and the alcohol.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I gravitated to that behavior.
Mhm.
Not
And
to
what
not to the behavior,
Mhm.
but when I got married.
Okay. Okay.
I got married, there was no signs of that.
Mhm. And how old were you when you got married?
I was 22,
Okay.
maybe 22, 23.
Mhm.
My husband was in the military,
Mhm.
and I was determined not to be a single mom.
Mhm.
I wanted my son to have a two-parent home. My husband was in the military and, you know, a great provider and things of that nature. But then again, the alcohol, the card parties, my norm, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and one day, just out of the blue,
Mhm.
he pulled a gun out on me.
Mm.
And he said, I love you so much. If I ever find out you're cheating on me, I'll kill you.
Mm.
In my mind, oh my God, he really loves me.
Yeah. Yeah.
He loves me enough to where, how abnormal is that?
Mhm.
In my young mind, I'm never going to cheat either because my husband loves me. And he came from an abusive, very abusive. He was from New Orleans and he, very abusive home. His father was
Mhm.
very abusive. And
Mhm.
I'm like, I remember one time he flipped the couch cushion
Mhm.
and he pulled out and he had an AK-47. I'll never forget it.
Ooh.
And he said, you getting smart with me? I said, I'm not getting smart with you, but I'm just letting you know you're not going to put your hands on me in front of my son. My son was like 10 months old then. And
Mhm.
he laughed and he said, girl, you're crazy. But in the back of my mind,
Mhm.
it was like, you got to get away from him.
Yeah.
You got to get away from him. And then the flip side of the coin is, but you're going to be a single mom. You're going
Yeah.
to You're going to fit that criteria over there.
Mhm.
You're going to be a single black mom. And
Yeah.
I stayed.
Mhm. I
But
remember you saying, "I don't wanna raise my son by myself. I'm gonna
yeah,
make marriage work."
I'm going to make the marriage work. Not only that,
Mhm.
my grandfather's a pastor,
Mhm.
and I want a husband. I want a family. I want to go to church. I want to do the right thing.
Mhm.
Right. And so you have this population of women that says marriage takes work, baby.
Mhm.
And then you have these other women on this side that says, girl, please, you better get rid of him. And then you have this population of women that say, y'all just young. It's gonna get better. Just try not to make him mad.
Mm.
Take
Yeah.
all the gun take take all the guns out of the house.
Mhm.
Oh, he pulled a gun on you, but he's not a rapist.
Mm.
He's not touching your nieces. Wow, what a checklist to go by. And I'm sure everybody meant well within their own
Right.
reasoning.
Right, right, right.
I'm like, okay. And then he, I caught him cheating and I confronted him about it.
Mhm.
And he punched me so hard in my face it split my whole cheek open. And I left.
Mhm.
I left. I got my own apartment. Like 3 months later, we were getting stationed in Louisiana.
Mhm.
He came and he begged, please, I'll never do it again. Blah, blah, blah. And one of my aunts said, go with your husband. Maybe it'll be better. You guys need to leave Washington. Go with your husband. Well, we get
Mm.
stationed in Louisiana, Fort Polk.
Mhm.
He's from New Orleans.
Yeah, he's in his stomping grounds.
He's in his stomping grounds.
Yeah.
It was good first couple months, maybe a year. It was,
Mhm.
and the drinking, where the card parties, the barbecues, it gets to the point now I don't want to be a part of the card party. I don't want to cook for the barbecue. He'd cook himself.
Mhm.
And the friends would come over, and of course I'm doing hair, right?
Mhm.
And then after everybody would leave, I'd be asleep
Mhm.
sometimes, and I would just hear click click, and I knew that sound blindfolded.
Mm.
And I'd open my eyes, and I couldn't even see the lamp because the barrel of the gun would be in my face.
Candy, how did you convince yourself that this was normal? Or is this just like this was just all you knew? Because I feel like you would have been like so hyper vigilant living that way. Do you feel like you were?
Oh, at this point, I can handle this.
Mm. Mhm.
I can handle this, but in my mind, the more and more because things progressively got worse
Mhm.
there, and so I started calling home, talking to my aunts and stuff,
Mhm.
and then um, I just made up my mind. I knew I couldn't say I'm leaving you. I couldn't say that.
Mhm.
At this point, I'm afraid
Mhm.
because you really will kill me.
Yeah.
You really will kill me because now you're laughing, you're thinking it's funny, and
Mhm.
you're pulling guns on me in front of other people now, and other people are concerned. So I flew home. I brought my son home. He was 3, or he may have been 4. I brought my son home.
Mhm.
I flew back down there and I got a U-Haul.
Mhm.
And my homegirl from Tacoma too, right? She was going through stuff, but it wasn't like what I was going through.
Right.
And her mom said, if you come home, don't leave my baby. And
Mm.
I went and got a U. I called her and I said,
Mhm.
look, your mama told me to bring you home.
Mhm.
And by this time, it's like my son ain't with me.
Mhm.
So if you want to kill me, let's go. I got a
That was
U-Haul.
your mindset?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I had just had enough. I couldn't sleep. My heart used to beat, and everybody's saying, oh, you're so pretty. You look so nice. You guys are just a beautiful couple. They're
Right.
not knowing the hell I was going through.
Mhm.
Nobody knew but my friend. And
Mhm.
sis, I got that U-Haul. And I walked in that house. I called some guys in his chain of command.
Mhm.
I need you guys to help me remove my stuff from my home.
Mhm.
And his soldiers came in there, loaded up my U-Haul. I went around the corner and got my homegirl.
Mm.
We loaded up her stuff and we drove all the way back to Washington in a U-Haul.
2 of you.
And her cousin followed in her car.
Wow. And how long had you been married when you finally left?
Mm, maybe 4 years.
4 years.
Hmm. And we
Was that
stayed
the
married. We stayed married a total of 7.
So when you left, when you had to flee and you came back to Tacoma, was that the end of him trying to contact you, or did he still try to
He
reconcile with
started
you?
writing. He wrote letters to my mom's house. I
Mhm.
never gave him my phone number. I never gave him my address.
Mhm.
Now he's getting out of the military because he wants to save his family.
Right. Mhm.
And I just said, if you come back here, if you come back to Washington, my cousins will kill you.
Mm.
But it wasn't, he was afraid of the boys.
Mhm.
But at this
Mhm.
point, it wasn't the boys he should have been afraid of because it was the girls. Because I got a couple female hitters in my family too that
Yes,
just
you do. Yes,
ain't
Lord.
ain't going for it. And so they were the ones that were. But my heart,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
would have let him come back. I would have
Mhm.
let him come back. But I had them saying, "You bet not."
Mm.
And then the other thought was, how am I going to be able to face them if I let
Right.
him come back?
So you in your heart, you wanted to reconcile, like, you wanted
Yeah,
to believe that he would not do what he had done before, he wouldn't do it again. You
right.
wanted to believe that he had changed,
And I loved my husband.
and you loved him. But
I
it was thinking about your cousins and your family knowing that you let him come back that kept you from allowing him to come back,
and my son.
and your son. Okay.
My baby came around the corner one day with a little tiny little steak knife,
Mm.
and he said,
Mhm. Aw.
"Mom," and he was so little. He was too little to have to
Yeah.
feel the way that he felt. "Mommy, if anybody hits you again, I'm gonna hit him with this." He had a little knife, and that's when I knew that, girl, I really waited out. You've been sleeping all night. You're
Yeah.
not as you're not as anxious. You really want to go back to that?
Right. Mhm.
And so I didn't.
But don't we see that all the time, Candy? We see, and I know statistics say that it takes 7 or 8 times of leaving before you actually leave for good. But we see it all the time with women who are being beaten and financially violated and mentally and emotionally violated. But
Yeah.
when the good days come, you cling to those good days, and then you start to say, "Okay, it's okay. It's been a month. It's
Mm-hmm.
been 2 months. He hasn't hit me. So maybe this time, this is gonna be different this time." And then the beatings start again.
That honeymoon phase is over.
Yeah, it's like 50,000,000 honeymoon phases.
Or how
Yeah.
about that when they say, according to research, you leave 7 or 8 times?
Mhm. Mhm.
What if that 7 or 8 times you left just in your mind? You checked out in your mind.
Yeah.
But when
Mm.
you leave that one relationship, you get
Mhm.
into 7 or 8 more.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because I did 2 or 3.
Oh.
And when I started seeing that pattern,
Mhm.
I would wait to make sure it wasn't just me second guessing it,
Mhm.
staying too long.
Mhm.
I'd stay too long. And then I ended up getting married again.
Mhm.
Um, he wasn't even my type of guy, but he was
Mhm.
but he was nice, right?
Mm. Mhm.
And emotionally
Mhm.
and verbally, he was abusive.
Yeah.
I stayed again because I wanted my son to have a family. Eventually, enough is enough because you're cheating, you're being disrespectful, but not only are you being disrespectful, and I'm
Mhm.
not trying to air anybody out.
Yeah, I understand. It's
I'm
your
just saying,
experience of them. It's just
I'm
your
just speaking my
experience.
truth, and if anybody's
Yeah,
offended, you can come see
yeah,
me after this.
right.
But At the end of the day,
Mhm.
well, I'm doing this because you're doing that. And you know what? You're doing that because you want to do that. And eventually I walked
Mhm.
away. I
Mhm.
walked away and I was single, Sandy, for a long time.
Mm.
Then here comes a man that chased me down for like a year and a half.
Mhm.
He wouldn't let it go. And then in my mind, I'm just like, well, maybe okay. So I said, I'm going to take him to meet my aunt and uncle first, see what they
Mhm.
say. My uncle, before it wasn't even 10 minutes into the visit,
Mhm.
right in front of him, said, mm-mm. He
Uncle said, "No, mm-mm, this ain't gonna
says,
work, no."
Uncle told him, uh-uh, you ain't the one, and got up and walked away. Left the kitchen table. I was just sitting there like, my aunt said, well, you know how your uncle is.
Mhm. Men know men.
Sis, I stayed
Mm.
and I knew better. And here I am
Mhm.
preaching
Mhm. Mhm.
about a standard
Mhm.
that we're supposed to hold ourselves to as believers and as women and as God's daughters. And he's coming to church. He joined the church.
Mhm.
And it began. But he would just say stuff.
Like what?
Oh, call me out of my name. When he would drink,
Mhm.
he would call me out of my name and
Mhm.
just just look at you. You out doing for everybody else. None of them people don't see I'm here for you. I'm taking care of you. And you're
Mhm.
out here doing for all these people in the community and they don't even call you to say hi. They don't even call you to check on you. And there was a lot of truth to what he was saying,
Mm.
but he was using that as a way to isolate.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I didn't know, sis. I didn't know what I never had heard of the word narcissism.
Mhm.
I had
Mhm.
never heard of it.
Mhm.
And one day my niece said, Auntie, he's gaslighting you. And I
Mm.
said, what is that? She
Mhm.
said, Google it. So I Googled it
Mhm.
and I got chills on my face, sis, because it was like Google knew me. It was like it was like Google knew what I was going through.
Mhm.
And it just started progressively getting worse. And then he started accusing me of dating my coworker. He used to call my job, call different lines
Mhm.
to see if I had really went to work.
Mm. Yeah,
He
that's
just
abuse too.
he would pop up at my job
Mhm.
and he would always say, and then so you got to be careful who you share your story to,
Mhm.
not knowing if you're sharing it with a predator.
Mhm.
Because I did.
Mm.
And he would say, see, I ain't like them other ones. I ain't putting my hands on you. So I'm thinking those checkups at
Mhm.
work,
Right.
he just wants to make sure I'm safe. He's country, he from the South,
Mhm. Yeah.
That's what countrymen do. No, no, no. I came home one day and he's just, oh, go on back with your friends from work you've been messing with. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I went to use the restroom. It was bad. It was to the point where I had to use the restroom with the door open
Mm.
because he'd
And
accused.
how old were you in this relationship?
This was 2013,
Oh, okay, so not too long ago.
not too long ago.
Mhm.
And I went to the ladies' room and I washed my hands. And when I came out of the ladies' room, he knocked me against the wall.
Mm.
And he was a chef by trade.
Mhm.
And he had a knife. I could feel it on my eyelash when I blinked. And I said, what are you doing? He said, you know what? You won't be the first person I've killed and got away with.
Oh, Lord.
And I look, huh? I'm looking. And my boss from work called me
Mhm.
as I had left. And she said, he picked up the phone and he said, say hello. But she didn't know what was going on.
Mhm.
And she said, "Hey, you got out of here so quick today." And I had been little by little telling them he's crazy, you know.
Mhm.
So we had communicated like that, and she said, "You left, and I didn't get a chance to say, have a good night." And I
Mhm.
said, "Well, those jeans you gave me,
Mhm.
they didn't fit." She said, "Huh?" I said, "Those jeans you gave me, they didn't fit."
Mm.
And she said, "Oh, okay."
She knew what you meant?
hmm And he
Okay.
took the phone and he threw it on the counter.
Had you prearranged those words, like, as a
N-
code for her?
No,
No,
no.
but she knew
She
what you meant.
she knew that wasn't that was she knew that was thrown off. It didn't
Mhm.
fit the conversation, so she knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he,
Okay.
he said, "Tell her bye." And he threw the phone on the counter.
Mhm.
And he said, "I got to use the bathroom. Don't you move." And when he went to the bathroom, I made a break for it. And when I made a break for it, he caught me by the back of my hair
Mm.
and we fought. And that's when he got Candy Wells from 84, 85.
Oh. Oh, Lord.
And we fought.
Oh.
And I think my boss called the police and sent them to my house because they're knocking on the door.
Oh.
They're knocking on the door, but look where my mindset was.
Right.
He
Right.
said, they said Tacoma police. And he started laughing. He said,
Mm.
"Go ahead, open the door. Because now you finna go to jail because look at me and look at you." I didn't open the door because he's bloody, I'm not.
Right.
He said, "You ain't gonna never be able to work with kids. You going to jail today. Open the door." I went in, I sat in the chair, and I had my hand like this, and I fell asleep.
With the police at the door?
They went away.
Oh.
And he's just yapping, yapping, yapping. And he went and laid down, and I sat in the chair. I was waiting for him to go to sleep so I can run.
Mhm.
And I fell asleep. And
Mm.
someone knocking at the door again.
Mhm.
And I get up. I can look in the room. He's asleep. I opened the door. Was my cousin came to pick me up for work.
Mhm.
I didn't say anything. I just got in the car. So we're driving. And she said, "You guys been fighting?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "But I'll tell you about it when you pick me up." I go in my office and I sit down.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget. I don't know if I should say his name uh,
Mhm.
on the live, but I was at work and he was on our board at my
Mhm.
job. And he came in and he said, "You okay?"
Mhm.
And I said, "Yeah, mind you, my office is above the Crystal Judson. I'm hand carrying women down there all the time." And he said, "Hey, how's your day going?" It was early. And I said, it's going pretty good." I said, "Let me ask you something. I have a friend that
Mhm.
is in a violent relationship.
Mhm.
How can I get her resources?" And he said, "I'll be right back."
Mhm.
He came back, he took his coat off,
Mhm.
and he pulled his chair up to me. He said, "Put this coat on."
Mm.
He said, "It's not your friend,
Mhm.
it's you." He said,
Wow.
"I've been looking at you for the last 8 months. You haven't worn any makeup. You don't have nails on." He said, "Look at you." I didn't even know. I didn't even
Mhm.
realize I had on the same clothes from the day before. The front of my shirt was full of blood, and I didn't have on no socks and shoes on my feet. I came to work barefoot and didn't
Mm.
even know it.
My God.
And I'm sitting at the desk like, "Hey, t-shirt just full of blood," and I did not know it.
Mm.
And he said, "You come with me." He
Mhm.
put his coat on me. He
Mhm.
grabbed me by my hand like I was a little girl
Mhm.
and took me downstairs to the Crystal Judson Center. And they had me talk to somebody, and from right there, from that center, they push send on the computer and it goes over to the courts.
Mhm.
And they came and they talked to me and they said, "We're going to do what's called a stand-in where you can go get your stuff."
Mhm.
And so when I got there, they already had him. They were putting him in the car. was
Mhm.
crazy, and I couldn't find the knife anywhere. He had stuck the knife down in the fabric in the back of my couch.
Mm.
But he was gone. He was in jail. But two of my friends from church, Stephanie and Sandra, came to see about me. Sandra stayed all night
Mhm.
because I didn't know I have complex PTSD,
Mhm. Yeah.
but I gravitated to that, and it
Mm.
almost cost me my life. And that was the pivot point.
Mhm. Okay.
That was the pivot point, and I started the Crystal Judson Center had given me a booklet, a
Mhm.
big old pamphlet, and a lot of resources, and I started studying the cycles of domestic violence, and
Mhm.
that's how I was able to just put my thumb on it, where this is not just boyfriends, this is also how we interact with each other as
Mhm.
family,
Yeah.
how we
Yeah.
interact with each other in friendship and in sisterhood.
Mhm.
Assault can be physical, verbal assault, the way we speak to each other in a violent manner can be assaultive.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then that is how, over the years, just talking to people,
Mhm.
and standing for it. People can title you and label you as being angry because
Mhm.
you don't agree with what they want you to do or how
Mhm.
they want you to think. You can be heavy on the no. And
Mhm. Mm.
violence is still abroad in our communities, and that's how Tacoma Ceasefire was born.
Mhm.
I just woke up crying one day and say, how can we reach these kids?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the work that you're doing in the community. You are a well-respected, well-known community leader in Tacoma, and, I think being able to relate to pretty much anybody, that's just your personality. People are drawn to you, and I've seen you in work mode in the community. I know what that looks like. Um, and so for you to have experienced all of what you went through from a child on up to 12 years ago in a romantic relationship, and then to carry that lived experience into the work that you do with the community, I think that's what lends so much credibility to what you do. But I have a question. I wonder, and you tell me, how much of the violence that you experienced as a child growing up and then in your romantic relationships, your marriage, had to do with your health and your weight? Have you been able to connect the dots?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In what way?
Well, I grew up around addiction.
Mhm. Mhm.
I grew up around addiction, addiction to drugs, addiction to alcohol,
Mhm.
addiction to gambling,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
just as a believer, we talk about addiction
Mhm.
in ministry. Culturally speaking, we talk about addictions to pornography, we don't talk about addictions to food.
Right.
So I correlated the eating
Mhm.
to celebration.
Mm.
We eat at the barbecues, we eat at the birthday parties. Oh, I'm a good cook.
Mhm.
I may not have been the best cook, but I liked food.
Mhm.
And so when I'm thinking, and I struggle with this today, and I'm being transparent,
Mhm.
when I'm stressed or when I have something on my mind, I could be stressing behind somebody else's problem. It's not even my problem.
Mhm.
I had to unlearn
Mhm.
to learn what was physically, mentally, and emotionally healthy for me,
Mm. Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so accepting those things,
Mhm.
relationship wise, that were not healthy for me, but also the things that I was doing that was unhealthy for me, like my style of eating.
Mhm.
And I would eat for no reason. I wouldn't even be hungry, and I would already be planning. Like right now, it's close to 8 o'clock. I would
Mhm.
already be planning what was going to be for breakfast tomorrow.
Mm. Mhm.
Mhm.
So it's like you were preoccupied with food.
With food, yes. And candy, candy baby, love candy.
Mhm.
because I
Yeah.
was everybody's baby.
Mhm.
They knew what I went through with my dad. They knew what I was going through at home.
Mhm.
Um, I want candy, and they would
Mhm.
just give me candy. And so I like candy. I like junk food. I like the pasta, the cheese, and I would eat for no reason. And I didn't. I had was gaining weight, right? But this
Mhm.
very last relationship,
Mhm.
I looked up, and my highest weight was 367 pounds.
Mhm.
And my cousin Niche is so funny. She said that I think she used to tell my other cousin, "Oh my God, he's going to kill her. He's just always down there cooking, and she's just eating."
Mm.
And I didn't know until I started my wellness journey. That was the catalyst for my change.
Mhm.
I don't want to be around domestic violence. I don't want to be morbidly obese. So, what does all this look like to you and for you?
Mhm. Mhm.
And I looked, Sandy, to be honest, I said, "You ran,
Mhm.
but you couldn't get away from him because you were too big."
Mm.
And I just vowed that that would never happen to me again. And in my meditation time with the Lord, I said, I want to be whole all the
Mhm.
way around,
Mhm.
all the way around. I don't want to preach one life and live another.
Mhm.
And when it comes to a point, you can speak and lift those emotionally and spiritually to higher ground.
Mhm.
But what
Mhm.
happens when the time comes when you need to really be, when you need to be lifted to higher ground and you too big?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
want to live. I wasn't taking care of my blessing, which is the gift of life in my body.
Yeah. And you went through a huge transformation. You had surgery?
I had weight loss surgery.
Mhm.
But in order to get the weight loss surgery, I had to lose 17 pounds. And that
Mm.
was one of the hardest things I've ever did in my life.
Mm.
All the while, I'm looking at my only child
Mhm.
went to prison.
Mm.
The only child fell subject to violence.
Mhm.
And I'm looking, my only child's been on Washington's Most Wanted 3 times, and people are laughing and
Mm.
talking about me. Look at her. She's in the community talking about violence, and look at her son,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And I'm just eating behind the scenes, being single, live alone. I'm just eating. I'm just eating. And then
Mhm.
I decided to take charge of my life. I had weight loss surgery. It was to lose that 17 pounds
Mhm.
was grueling.
Mhm.
People will say you take the easy way out,
Mhm.
but the work begins after you have the surgery
That's right. Mhm.
because now your mind's got to be recalibrated.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
have a lot of friends that have had the surgery and they've gained their way back
Mhm.
because they went back to that addictive behavior. So anything that looks like addiction to me in a negative manner, I will pull the plug on it.
Mhm.
If I catch myself thinking negative, because addiction comes through the lenses of the way you think of yourself. You could be addicted to downtown talking yourself because you grew up with people down talking you. So you're addicted to that type of vocabulary, that type of verbiage.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so I have to daily keep that addiction under control.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so my lifestyle, my health, I don't take it lightly. And people don't know I live with debilitating ailments. You know,
Mhm.
you may see me in these moo I have fibromyalgia.
Mhm.
If you're familiar with that,
Mhm.
you're sometimes my body can't handle fabric.
Mm. Mhm.
I have lupus. I
Mm.
have arthritis
Mhm.
in my collarbones all over my body. And so
Mhm.
there are days I cannot get out of you'll see me with a walking stick.
Mhm.
If I'm in a public doing a movement, I'll have a walking stick, or you'll see me on the back of somebody's truck
Mhm.
because I cannot physically do that that day.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to because I can't get out of bed. I'm not going to DoorDash a bunch of junk food. I bring that addiction and that addictive behavior under the authority of the Holy Ghost.
Amen.
And then I had to get to a place to where it's okay to be single.
Mhm.
It's
Mm,
okay to be by yourself. That doesn't mean something's wrong with you. And
mhm.
then there's people that'll say, well, you keep your standards too high. You ain't going to have nobody. Well, I've lowered my standards enough in this lifetime.
All right. Mhm.
I'm single by choice. Know
Yeah.
that. Know that. But because I'm God's favorite daughter, I have a blood bought right to have a standard that was already lifted for me.
Mhm. That's right.
Right. So I'm going to be healthy, and anything that comes within my space that's unhealthy, I cancel it out, but I do it through the lenses of love.
Mhm. Amen. Well, you've always been one of my favorite people.
Likewise.
So these last what is this, 6 or 7 months we've been trying to schedule this thing was worth the wait.
And this is my first time sharing me, a layer of me in this
Yeah.
type of on this type of platform. And so I really appreciate the opportunity. If anything that I've said can bless anybody else.
Yes. What do you want to say right now to the women that are watching that might be where you were all those years ago in your marriage, in your relationship? They know that this man is violent, but they don't know how to get out. What do you want to say to them?
Um, First things first, one of my lifelong mentors, Annie Jones Barnes,
She's in the chat.
is she?
Yes,
Annie Annie told me one time, Candy, she'll call me Can when it's serious. Hey, Can, you got to remember your life is full of promise.
Mhm.
Your life is full of
Yeah.
promise. And so I always tell women or men,
Mhm.
because there's women that are abusers as well, that your life is full of
Yeah.
promise. And don't worry about what society thinks of you. You got
Mhm.
to live.
Yeah.
And for the sake of keeping a relationship, should not cost you your life. It should
Mhm.
not cost you your happiness. It should not cost you your wellness.
Yeah, all of that.
And it's okay, like for real, to say, you know what? I'm not doing good. But it's hard to find people that you can trust.
Mhm.
That's what kept me, another layer that kept me in that for so long. It was
Mhm.
hard to find people that I can trust. And you know
Mhm.
what I had to learn? Girl, you got to trust yourself
Mhm.
and know when it's time to walk away.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to put together a plan, just go. Just do it. Call me.
Just go.
I come get you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just go.
Mhm.
You deserve better, but you have to learn to love yourself more than you love that relationship.
Yeah. Senator Nobles is in the chat. She's
I love
here.
her. I love her.
She said, "Love you, Candy."
I love you too. I've been blessed with a lot of beautiful women in my life. And you know what?
Mhm.
It's so hard to live that life when you're smiling so vibrantly on the outside
Yeah.
and crying on the inside. That doesn't
Mhm.
make you a failure because you chose better for you. It doesn't. It doesn't make you a failure because you're a single mom. It doesn't make you a failure because you had to walk away from that narcissistic person, that narcissistic position on your job, or because I don't care how fine the man is.
Mhm.
I don't care what his tax bracket is. Your
Mhm.
life is worth more than what he can make.
Mhm. That's right. You know
Children,
what you know what else doesn't make you a failure? Having standards and boundaries for every relationship in your life, from your mama to your man.
I promise you.
Every relationship.
Mhm.
needs standards and boundaries. And I don't think we focus enough on the boundaries in our familial relationships. We talk about it in our romantic relationships and in our friendships. But when it comes to family, we kind of let them run amok,
We do.
and we should not.
And at work,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
at church, can we just let me
Mhm.
just I get to be myself.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter your title,
Mhm.
your position. Abuse is abuse. I don't care what your title is in the community. I don't care what your title is on the you could on the job.
Mhm.
You could be my cousin first removed. When I came to the understanding that in the spiritual realm, I'm a general
Mhm. Mhm.
and I'm going queen for the rest of my life. And that comes with being okay and confident, giving
Mhm.
you a strong no. Mm-mm,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. And we have to be, because I love to serve. That's just who I am.
Mhm.
But I have to be careful because serving at the level that I, not that I'm some cool being, because I'm not, but at
Mm.
the level in the capacity that I serve in, sometimes I have to be careful to make sure that that's not a trick of the enemy.
Mm. Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
start denying or neglecting my self-care.
Mhm.
So now I'm quick to say, yeah, don't even invite me because I'm probably not going to show up. I'm a very, very popular loner. I live
I
alone. When I
like
come
that.
home, my house is so quiet.
Yeah. Mine too. So
My,
is that your most important self-care practice?
hmm
Yeah.
and that's hard for me.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
is so hard for me. I've never been a people pleaser,
Mhm.
but my heart sometimes, I just want to I just want to crawl out the bed and serve.
Mhm.
And you know what? Then I have to remember girl, what can you do for them so significant that God can't do?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you over here trying to do this for her and she got a whole husband and five grown sons in the house.
Mhm.
And you going to pick her up. I have to use wisdom. Well,
Right.
sis, well, when your husband come home, he could take you.
Mhm.
Or call your sister.
Mhm.
My self-care looks like saying no
Mhm. Mhm.
and pacing myself. I
Yeah.
don't schedule anything if it's going to interrupt my time at the gym.
That's good.
Don't call me before 9. Y'all know where I'm at.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
if you come to the gym, we ain't finna talk about that while I'm in this pool.
Mhm.
I have to separate it. This is my time.
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
separate it and I have to give people the understanding of don't get offended because I didn't call you back. When I talk to you on the phone, I want to be able to give you all of my attention.
Right.
But if
Right.
giving you all of my attention causes me a sacrifice from me,
Right.
baby, I promise you, you're going to wait.
Mhm.
I have to say no to give myself a yes.
Yeah, and people mirror what we do. So nobody's going to respect your boundaries more than you do. When they see you being consistent in respecting your boundaries, then they will too. Otherwise, they'll just drop off.
I had to work at that
Yeah.
because again, I didn't want to be labeled the mean person. Even
Mhm.
in even in family, can I just say this? Even
Mhm.
with family or even in church,
Mhm.
sometimes you'll have people that are so soft-hearted. Well, we can just, even though they say family only, we could just invite them because they've been around us for 20 years.
Mhm. Mhm.
No, you're not family. This
Mhm.
is family only.
Mhm.
I struggle with that in church. Even though they say it's just family only. Well, we're going to change it to church family. No, they cannot come. Because then you think about it, these same people that we are grandfathering in,
Mhm.
when their family has stuff, first of all, you don't even know about it, let alone get invited.
Right.
It's
Mhm.
not reciprocated. So we have to set healthy boundaries in order to keep things in perspective,
Yeah.
because that's a form of emotional abuse,
Yes, it is.
manipulation.
Mhm.
I don't care if you've been my best friend since 10th grade. You're not a Jackson.
Mhm.
You can't come to this dinner, but you can come
Mhm.
to that dinner. And
Mhm.
so we have to build structure
Mhm.
once you get the foundation of consistency. Is that fair to say?
Mhm. Yeah, it
Once
is.
you're consistent with yourself and that foundation is laid,
Mhm.
then you start structuring things. And that doesn't mean that you don't love, that doesn't mean that you don't value,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I mean, you don't love doesn't mean that you don't value,
That's
but you
right.
those are some of the healthy boundaries that keeps you from being sidetracked in your mind because now you're trying to figure out this other people's stuff because you then added them to this, and now
Mhm.
you're multitasking. And then you grab a bag of chips, and then you go get some cookies, and now you've added to your layers, and there's a glitch in your system, and you
Mm.
don't realize now you have gone back to that
Oh, yeah.
addictive behavior. So
Mhm.
you said it earlier,
Mhm.
consistency. That was so good for me and to me.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Well, you got love in this chat. Our girl Teresa Gales is in the chat. Uh, Sally
Love her.
Henley is in the chat.
Sally is one person I know that covers me in prayer.
Yes, Stephanie Alexander is in the chat.
Stephanie is one of my. She's one of my jewels. She knows
Um,
my journey.
yeah. Let me see who else is in here. Yeah, I think that's everybody. So much love for you.
Beautiful. I
So, because you have
appreciate
planted
it.
so many seeds. You have planted so many seeds over your lifetime. And I just see your harvest coming in right now. Yeah, I see it.
You know, I love. I love God. I love my life.
Mhm.
I love my tribe. I've been blessed with beautiful sisters like you all,
Yeah.
Annie, Stephanie, our senator. You
Mhm.
know,
Yes.
everybody needs a Sandy. Like this is like a big deal what you do here. That this takes consistency
Yeah.
that I don't have, but everybody adds a layer to my life. Even the bad things that have happened to my life in my life, I thank God for that because I learned from it
Mhm.
and it strengthened me to be able to pour into someone else. And
Mhm.
with God, I have made it through and I can handle it.
Mhm.
I'm not the big man on the totem pole, but because I'm on the pole,
Mhm.
I'll I'll take that and just do my part.
Mhm.
That's all I
I
want to
think it
do.
I think it was Dr. Maya Angelou that said, "When you get, give. When you learn, teach."
Oh, that's good.
And you have that down to a science. Because I remember when I first launched Best Life merch, you were one of the first 10 people to buy a shirt from me. I remember
Love
that.
my t-shirt.
Yeah. And I came over your house to bring the shirt, and we ended up talking for like an hour and a half. I
I was
just
so
remember
happy
you
when you came over. To,
you were sitting on the couch eating a popsicle, and we just was talking and laughing. It was just the best time ever, but that's what we
yes,
do when we see each other.
all the time. It's like there's been no time in between. We just pick right up.
Yes.
And that's because you're authentic.
Amen.
Authentic. And you know the one thing that I always remembered about you, Sandy,
Mhm.
you've always just been kind. That goes a long ways to people
Yeah.
when you don't know people's backdrop.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of people that met me post Jesus.
Mhm.
And so they take me as this soft spoken, you
Mhm.
know, I had to learn how to talk because I stuttered so bad as a kid.
Mhm.
So I speak quietly because I have to pace myself so I don't stutter. But there have been many times that I had to tell people, I need you to watch how you handle me.
Mhm.
That's another one of my forms of self care. Watch how you handle me.
Yeah. That's a good one. Mhm. Well, thank you, Candy Baby.
Thank you for the opportunity. And I hope that what I've shared has been a blessing to someone else.
I absolutely believe that somebody watching this live is going to at least attempt to get to safety because of what they heard you say tonight. I really believe that. That's my prayer. That is my prayer with every show. My prayer is that something that is said will prick the hearts and someone will hear themselves in the story of my guest and then begin the work of trying to get to wholeness, whatever that looks like for them. So that's my prayer for this show tonight too.
And if you never hear my voice or see me again,
Mhm.
remember, domestic violence is not okay.
Yeah.
For you to experience that, that's not okay.
Mhm.
And for you to cause someone else to be subject to that
Mhm.
is not okay. And it's not just the men that are the violators,
That's right.
women that are violent as well.
Mhm.
And if
Mhm.
and if you are an offender,
Mhm.
get some help.
Yeah.
Get some help. And if you are being mistreated, leave.
Mhm.
Your life is worth it. Run.
Amen. I know I put this in the description. The domestic violence hotline phone number is in the description box of this video. Also, you can go to harborhousedv.org if you need some resources. It doesn't matter what state you live in. They have nationwide resources on that website, harborhousedv.org. Help is available 24/7 at the National Domestic Violence Hotline. You can Google it, it's everywhere. If you need help, like Candy said,
Please.
please reach out, go and get it. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for the Girl Talk Sunday podcast. As always, I say God bless and good night.
Blessings.
She worth it. She worth it. She worth it.